Hi guys, Saki with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a free-for-all match on the map Arena Valley Extreme Mega. I'm starting in the top right position, playing as the Soviets. So this is sort of like a custom map, which is sort of modified version of Arena Valley Extreme. And what's happened is they've put extra ore patches in there. So like ore's going to be less of an issue, because in the normal game or the normal map, what you'd need to do is you need to make sure you expand to the middle because there's a lot of ore concentrated there. With this map though, there's more ore patches to other places, so expansion is less of an issue. But still, you're going to want to expand to the middle, because even if with these extra ore patches, the more ore you control, the better position you are going to be in. I'm also going to need to be quite careful with the ore, because you can see that it's only a 5k ore start. So I'm already quite low, so I'm going to need to make sure I do mine those gems as much as possible if I'm going to want to keep my production going. And we've almost got this like next war factory out.
Construction complete.
I'm also expanding down to that next ore patch there. I'm going to build another ore refinery on that patch. I'm going to go for double ore refinery here because before my second ore refinery before my second war factory, because of the reduced ore at the start. Sometimes you can actually go double war factory still if you collect enough gems, but I'm going to go for the safer option here because there is a lot of ore around my base, so I'm just going to go for more economic start, I guess, and then I'll build my second war factory. You can see my economy is doing sort of okay at the moment, but you can see that second ore refinery on a like pure ore patch. And now I'm going to get my second war factory out. Of course, you want more war factories so you can have a faster building speed, but you'd need the economy to be able to utilise that. And just getting a bit more map visibility around my base so I can see any attacks which may be incoming.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
And what I think is probably all of the players will probably start in the corners, so we've probably got teams in 4 corners. And it's like whoever makes, well, you always have to think, it's uncertain who's going to make the first move, because if you move on another player, then you could be attacked by the corner. Like, for example, if I went and attacked the top left, I could be attacked by the bottom right. But if the bottom right attacks me, they know they could be attacked by the bottom left. So it's sort of like you're in a situation where people are a bit uncertain of who's going to make the first move. But yeah, but if, like, let's say a corner gets taken out, like top left was taken out, for example, that means bottom right is in a real bad position because he's got a person above him and just to the side of him. So yeah, there's pros and cons. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my service depot out, because I'm going to want to go multi-MCV and build, just because it gives me a faster building speed for structures. So I'm going to be able to like build things like Tesla coils and just general things like ore refineries, war factories, just at a faster rate. And I'm probably going to need it because it's quite hard to like sort of like build around because of the extra ore patches and the extra ore. There's more of the map which yeah, it makes it a bit harder to like expand my base towards the middle. So those extra MCVs are going to come in helpful. And now I've got my third war factory just to increase that building speed even more of units. I've got my first MCV out, so I'm going to deploy that, and once I've deployed that, I'm going to have like double the structure building speed. I've also got a third MCV there, so that's going to increase my building speed even further. And that's going to make it like easy to build things like Tesla, which usually take quite a long time to build, but when you've got multiple MCVs, they are much quicker, and the Tesla just do like help tanks just so much in tank battles. If you get in a close tank battle but you've got some Tesla behind you, it makes things a lot easier. And we are seeing some of the consequences of having like this 4-player lockout. Oh, my ore situation there doesn't look great. It's because I'm building structures faster, and if you build structures faster, of course it uses up more ore. So it does take a little while for it to kick in. The multi-MCV method, but once it does kick in, it becomes very, very powerful. Getting another ore refinery out there on that ore patch as well. And yeah, just having to get power plants out and keep on building ore refineries and getting some more ore trucks so I can start mining off other ore patches. And you want to spread out sort of like your ore trucks over different ore patches. If you send them all to the same one, what tends to happen is that gets depleted, and then you move on to another one which gets depleted, and it's just much less efficient. But now we can see that Cyan is starting to get a decent army size built up, and he's starting to look a little bit more aggressive. So I'm just going to move my tanks towards the left side of my base. Also placing some Tesla down there, which will give me a bit of added defense. And just need to keep it well protected. I don't want to lose those extra MCVs or anything like that. So we're just going to be able to build those tank numbers up. And what I was saying earlier about that it takes a little while for that MCV to kick in, that multi-MCV method, well, it's starting to kick in now, and we're starting to stack up the ore. I think I paused actually the structure, the tank building there though, but we're starting to be in a pretty good position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build even more MCVs, and now just try to fit through that little gap there. Just building some more silos as well, just to so I can start expanding downwards, because I'm going to probably want to expand down across that gap at some point. But getting these extra MCVs out, and I'll get them up and probably want to guard that gap. And once I've got these MCVs out, of course, it's going to increase my building speed even more, so those Tesla are going to be pretty slick at getting them established.
Construction complete.
Obviously, the MCVs don't actually help until you deploy them into construction yards. And now we can see a red army at the bottom of my base as well. So we're going to need to be quite careful about this. I'm going to get some Tesla down here. They do some great damage against light tanks. And it looks like it's been a bit of a sleep at the moment. So we're just going to try and get more of these Tesla established, and try and whittle down the army a little bit. And now that's 3 Tesla. That's going to do some real damage to red. A 4th one there. And yeah, they are taking out some of those Tesla, but are they going to survive? That's the question. One of them's down. Another one's close, and it looks like it's just managed to survive. And red's been a bit careless there, not paying attention, and losing quite a lot of those tanks. And now I've got that extra MCV deployed. I'm going to be starting to build things pretty quickly. What I'm going to need to be careful of is that I don't run out of power and leave these Tesla defenseless. But we have got quite a good number here, and I'm just sending a tank down actually just to have a bit of a look and see what's going on in red's base.
Building. Construction complete. Unit ready.
It looks like actually red's established in the bottom left. I was actually thinking that red was like bottom right there, but it looks like red is actually in the bottom left position. And is established there. He was just having some tanks there, probably ready for the attack. And now I'm getting some ore refineries established on that bottom right position. And yeah, what I'm going to need to do is probably take care of maybe Cyan. Because he's like quite close. He's getting more and more tanks. We can see his army split into 2 forces there. And now I'm going to be able to get extra war factories since I've got those extra ore refineries. And now we can see that red is getting established in the bottom right position as well. So there's going to be 2 teams there, and it becomes a question of yeah, do I want to go for the attack on Cyan? It looks like we'd have no choice, because Cyan is going on the attack on me. We can see his army moving across, and we're going to need to see if we can defend against this. That is a lot of tanks there coming from 2 masses coming right at my base, but I do have a lot of heavy tanks in the way. So the question is, are we going to be able to defend against this? I've also got some Tesla coils out as well, which are going to provide a little bit of support also. So we'll see how those medium tanks fare. Obviously it's lagging a little bit, so it'll be a bit hard to control any tanks at the moment. But we can see some of those Tesla now firing on those medium tanks. The question is, do I have enough heavy tanks? Are they going to be able to hold? Because there are a lot of medium tanks at the top. At the bottom bars seem to be doing quite well and taking out those tanks, but those tanks are now starting to push into my base, and this could be big trouble for me. He's starting to go for the war factories, and that's going to reduce the rate at which I'm going to be able to replenish my tanks. Yeah, going for those war factories and also the ore refinery, so it's going to go for a hit on the economy as well. And I'm losing quite a bit here, and this is going to be like a big blow to me. I'm just trying to actually try and get my tanks over to fight, but as you can see, the lag is sort of like kicking in, and it's taking a bit of a while for those heavy tanks to react. Now they're going for the attack on Cyan, and he's starting to clear up some more oil refineries and some more construction yards. And this is bad because he's getting to the construction yards down south. I'm going to sort of like need to rebuild after this actually, because I think I've only got like a couple of construction yards left. If he gets near that Tesla wall though, that'll put him in a little bit of trouble. And you can see he's just trying to clear up like all the major things. Like now I've got a war factory, so I'm going to sort of like build it right near that Tesla. And yeah, he's missed that construction yard thankfully. But I'm going to build some more Tesla and just guard that point on the map. Now he's going up there. I've also got another construction yard up there. But just getting some Tesla established. And you can see now Cyan is retreating back. The thing is now he's lost a lot of tanks going for the base dives. But yeah, he's got even more tanks coming in now. And now he's going for the attack. Let's see what he goes for this time. Is he going to go for the construction yard? It looks like he's just trying to take out tanks at the moment. And this is one big tank battle. It's heavy tanks versus medium tanks, and those medium tanks seem to have the better numbers right at the moment. And I think I built that Tesla wall in the wrong place. If I'd built it at the other side of my base, I would have been in a much better position. And now just fighting that medium tank horde. But there's just too many of them, and you can see my heavy tanks are starting to get whittled down. And I'm going to need to pull back to this Tesla wall at the bottom here. Yeah, just, I mean, you don't know where you're going to get attacked, and I just built it in the wrong place. If I built it further up the top, it would have been a bit of a different story, because when you have tanks and Tesla working together, they are very, very strong. But now we can see that Red is sort of in the middle of the map, and Cyan's starting to divert his attention. I think he thinks I don't have enough left, but I do have, like, a decent economy going in this set part of the map. I'm now going to get a chance to like build back up a little bit and build some more MCVs and get that building speed back up. And now getting that fourth war factory out, you could just see that ore situation is absolutely crazy. I've just got like tons of it. I've got almost 40,000 in ore. Well, I do have 40,000 now, not almost. And I've got 4 war factories working, and those MCVs should be coming out pretty quickly. But yeah, I've got a crazy number of ore trucks working there. And just getting them out of that top there, and now getting a 5th war factory, because I'm going to need to get those tank numbers built up. So I'm going to get a 6th war factory, so just get going overboard on the war factories. But I need to just have this building speed right up there, and I need to get a tank force which is going to be able to deal with Cyan if he goes back for another attack, and also be able to build some Tesla at the same time. And we're also going to get our radar dome out so I can see what's going on. And we can see Cyan is now having a bit of a fight against Red. So we'll have to see how Cyan does there. And I'm just having to think, I might hold back a little bit and just let them duke it out. Because Red's got like a lot of like map control sort of. He's like in the bottom right, he's in the bottom left. He's got access to quite a number of ore patches. So we do have to be careful and not too hasty, and maybe attack the wrong player and then put the other player in a great position. And yeah, just what I'm doing now is just starting to build back up. And yeah, I'm just having a look at where I can like sort of, I've got like, at least I've got a Tesla there, so I'm going to be able to get a ore refinery on that top right ore patch. It's always nice when you have just like a building left there, so you can start building from it. And just starting to build back up. But now what we can see is Red is starting to get the upper hand on Cyan. It looks like Cyan's getting pushed back. And it's not surprising because Cyan did lose a lot of tanks when he was fighting my army. It's a pretty good thing I didn't attack Cyan earlier. And I've got those extra MCVs out as well. I'm going to have to try and get them out into the base and deployed. And that's going to give me a great building speed. But we'll have to see what happens between Cyan and Red at the moment. You can see Cyan's got some more trucks there on that ore patch, but I'm just trying to keep out of like involvement at the moment. I've got a great building speed, so it's going to be making tanks a lot easier. And got quite a few Teslas there as well in order to help me as well. Just getting another Tesla out there.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
And I'm just having a little look at that base. And now I'm going to go for the attack on red, because it seems like red is in a bit of a good position. And I want to sort of maintain the balance.
Building.
And because Cyan's lost like a lot of tanks, hopefully he's not going to be in the position to go on a big attack. And now we're going for red. You can see how many oil refineries red's got. Let's see if we can take those out and just hold that base expansion in the bottom right. I think his tanks will be pretty out of position at the moment because he's in a fight with Cyan. So we're going for a little attack there. We're also building all Teslas at home just to take out those ore trucks off my close ore patch. And we're doing some great damage here.
Vehicle reporting.
Building.
Let's see if we can just push through. I'm sort of getting that Tesla wall now against Cyan. And for those, a lot of those ore refineries going down. So he must have a ton of ore trucks, but they'll all be going for the same ore refinery eventually to the left of the map. And now we can see that the Cyan army's coming in and he's going for an attack on my base. I'm going to need to pull back to defend against this, although he's going to be quite close to my Tesla wall with those medium tanks. Let's see if he pulls up, if he gets in range. I've also got a Tesla just being built there. I'm going to have to be careful of his power though, make sure I still have enough power. You can see some of those tanks getting in range and just getting sort of Tesla out of sight there. And now we've got that Tesla wall starting to do some damage. When you've got Teslas in that number, they just do a massive amount of damage to those medium tanks. And yeah, medium tanks are a little bit stronger than light tanks when it comes to sturdiness, but they're still going to take an awful lot of damage. I've also got my tanks in here at the moment, and those medium tanks look like they are going to get wiped up because there's not enough of them. When you got this many Tesla, it's like an absolute nightmare for the other team. And now starting to push through, and I can see how many heavy tanks I've got there. My tank armies really started to build back up, and some of those ore trucks being taken out from Cyan, from those Tesla. And now we can see that Cyan is now starting to push down into red's base. So it seems like the balance has switched once again. And that's the thing about these three-way fights. You have to be very careful about how the balance swings. I'm not going to go and attack that red base anymore, because now it's Cyan who is in the stronger position, and I'm probably going to need to go and attack them. I've still got a load of ore, surprisingly, which is stacked up. I've got another war factory out, just to help with that tank building speed, even though I've got loads of tanks already. But now another ore truck looks like it's going to go down to that Tesla wall. And now we can see that Cyan is starting to pull the forces back up north because now they realise that the biggest threat is no longer red and it's coming from the right of the map. And now let's see where are those Cyan tanks going to attack. It looks like they're going to go from the top of my base at the moment, but I do have a lot more Tesla this time around and things might turn out a little bit differently. Also, some of the forces from Cyan must have been used up when fighting red. We can see those medium tanks coming around, and I've got a lot of heavy tanks to defend, and it doesn't look like they've got the numbers that they had previously. And we can just see how many tanks are coming from the bottom of the map. The thing is, we don't want to spend too long fighting like other players, because when we fight Cyan, that gives red a chance to build up. It's a bit like earlier when red and Cyan were fighting. It gave me a chance to build up, and you can see my whole situation here is pretty bad. And yet again, I'm seeing red building some of that back up in that bottom right position. And this time he's starting to build tanks, and it looks like he's probably going to be going for the attack on myself. So I'm going to need to get prepared for this and taking out some of those ore trucks just to try and conserve my ore and also deny the resources from red, although red has a lot of map control and he has a lot of active ore patches which you can work from. It looks like those tanks from red are going to go on the attack now, and the question is, am I going to have enough tanks here to defend? I'm also going to build some Tesla coming from the top and try and crawl down into his base. Let's see what he decides to go for now. Those tanks from red look like they're going to go down, and I'm going to be able to start taking out some of those buildings. He's also taking notice of those Tesla, but it's giving me these tanks further down just to have a little bit of a more opportunity just to take out some of these major buildings from red. As his tanks try and deal with a Tesla further up at the top. And those war factories, he must have a massive amount of war factories because, yeah, he's got 3 in just that little section. But yeah, he's pretty much just trying to use up all resources. And you can see earlier I was doing quite well for resources. Right now though, I'm absolutely broken. That's just because I've got so many war factories. It's going a bit crazy. And now we can see we're starting to take out some of those more tanks. But some reinforcement red tanks are coming from the left of the map. At the same time, I'm going to need to keep an eye on what's going on in north on my radar, because we can see that clump of Cyan tanks just waiting in the top middle of the map. But this fight with red now, it seems it's going okay. We're getting rid of those red tanks, and we're going to be able to go and get some buildings. We're just trying to clear as much as we can off this bottom right hand corner, because that's where the ore is, and I want to be able to use all these resources freely. So we'll see if we can clear them off. You can see my ore trucks are having a bit of a hard time, sort of like a bit stuck. And another Tesla pole going down there, and some of those red tanks starting to go down. Now just taking out some of these buildings here and he's selling up here. And now we're going to push over to the left bottom middle of the map and try and get rid of that base also. And just getting another ore refinery down there. And now this tank force pushing to the bottom middle, and we can see that red has lost some of his troops there as well. And now we're going to there, and now we can see there's a red tank army there just guarding his main base. What we'll do is we'll try and go to the middle, but his tank's sort of following me a little bit, but they seem to have stopped, just paused right there. So we're just going to try and go into this middle piece now. There's some more red tanks in the middle here. What we're trying to do though is just get rid of these ore refineries, this construction yard, and just clear his base off this middle patch. However, he's getting another ore refinery down there, and it looks like he might have just enough to keep on. Yeah, I don't know if will I be able to get rid of these ore refineries. Another one's going down, and it does look like I'm going to get rid of that other ore refinery there. And now we see another construction yard in this middle part. And what do we see there? I think there's cruisers now in the middle part of the map, and that's going to be a bit of a headache for myself, because a lot of my base are in range of that cruiser fire, unfortunately for myself. We're going to try and get rid of that construction yard, so I'm just bringing my tanks in. It seems like it's on low HP, and it looks like it's going to go down, but it's going to do nothing for those cruisers in that patch there. And you can just see I have a big massive tanks right up there, so I'm just going to sort of try and get them down a little bit. But those cruisers now firing on my tanks, and the thing is, there's no way I can like sort of get rid of that patch there. And now those red tanks starting to push upwards and destroy some of my ore trucks. I'm just trying to get some tanks out of that war factory. The lag's a bit crazy. I was trying to select those ore trucks, but it just wasn't registering, so I'm going to be bringing some tanks down right now. Get a Tesla out also, and that Tesla doing a bit of firing. We'll be able to take out some of those medium tanks, which don't seem to be moving around too much at the moment. And getting another Tesla out as well, so that's 2 Tesla now. And now those red tanks moving around a bit. Unfortunately, I'm going to lose my ore trucks from that position, most of them anyway. But I've got some Tesla there, and there's not that many resources left on the map really now. We've got some resources to the right of my base, which I sort of want to keep sort of like as much as possible, and we've got these resources down here, and red pulling back for the time being and just taking a bit of a seat now. So I've got Cyan top middle, I've got red in sort of the bottom middle. Now he has got like cruisers in that water patch, but at least there isn't like a great deal of resources in that, like next to the water. More of the resources are located in other parts of the map at least. So that's the parts which I need to keep protected. And now we see those red tanks on the retreat, and we see some of those ore trucks as well. And I can just see that cruiser mass on that lake is just absolutely huge. And we're taking out some of those ore trucks now, but red is coming back in with those medium tanks. Those ore trucks going down, and now it's just a tank on tank battle. And yeah, you can just see that that tank swarm that I've got at the top of the map, which I need to keep there because Cyan is still there in that top middle position with a whole load of tanks. But here now, those medium tank numbers are starting to build up. I'm going to need to pull back, and some Cyan helicopters are coming in and providing a bit of annoyance against those Tesla. but this isn't looking good for me. Those heavy tanks are starting to falter. I'm going to need to pull back a little bit and get back to the safety of my base, hopefully with some Tesla in place.
Lost.
And yeah, I'm going to start building heavy tanks, just having a little bit of a pause there.
Building.
And I'm going to build some SAM sites as well, just to get rid of, well, to attack those helicopters when they come up for the attack. And now the medium tanks coming in, this could be bad for myself. Building some, so I'm building some SAM defences. I need to bring those heavy tanks back though, because there's too many medium tanks there. And without the Tesla, I'm not going to be able to win that battle. This time I can like move my ore trucks a bit back and just protect them a little bit. Though my heavy tank numbers are starting to build up, and soon hopefully I will, well, I was going to say soon I'll hopefully be able to defeat those medium tanks, but you can see once again the resources are very, very limited. So what we're going to try and do is move our tanks around as much as possible. You can see that the red tanks are moving. It looks like it might be napping a little bit. But yeah, we're going to be able to take out hopefully a group of those, and another building going down yet again to those Cyan helicopters. And at the moment I'm just so focused on red as well, I don't have as much time to focus on Cyan. And yes, some of my ore trucks taking a bit of a hammering there from those cruisers. And what I'm going to need to do is I just need to be going for the full-on attack against Cyan. The Cyan tanks moving in now, and against my heavy tanks. These are two big armies. Let's see who is going to win this battle. This is one of those crucial battles in the game. I've got heavy tanks, Cyan medium tanks. A lot of those Cyan tanks actually look like they're on like slightly less HP. My tanks look like they're more new, so that could make a big difference in this battle. We'll just have to see how is it going to go. So, and yeah, just try to take them in. It looks quite even at the moment. It's too early to tell. You can just see how massive these two forces are. And we'll just wait and find out. We're just trying to push a little bit forwards. We've got no Tesla in range, so they're not going to be helping us. And Cyan doesn't have any base defences also in range. But these both these tank forces are absolutely huge. And we've got some newer medium tanks in at the back there. And just a case of who is going to win this. It looks like I think I might have the slight edge, possibly. But it's a bit early to tell yet. But some of those medium tanks going down, they look like they're going down slightly quicker. The question is, does Cyan have any in the back of his base? It does look like it's going to be quite close, so. But I think the tanks are looking about even at the moment. But I've got heavy tanks, Cyan's got medium tanks, and those heavy tanks are a little bit stronger. And just waiting to push forwards. I'm seeming to get those forces whittling down, and we can see as this fight's going on, red is starting to build up. He's now got some defences, or well, a base next to that water, which is going to be very hard for me to get to because of course it's guarded by cruisers, and anything that gets near there is going to get absolutely hammered. But we can see that how this battle's going to turn out now. I'm going to be able to beat those Cyan tanks. It looks like the army's going to be pretty much dissolved, and now those Cyan tanks pulling back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and push forwards and get some of the major buildings. What I do notice though from Cyan's area is that there's not much ore left, not especially when you compare it to my area. And I'm going to try and take out these buildings. You can see my army's still quite big. I'm going to be able to take out some of these major buildings. We'll have to see what Cyan's going to do. I think it looks like he's going to go towards my base and try and take out some of those, like some of the ore refineries and things like that. The only thing is, though, is that most of my, I guess I've got quite a bit of base at the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my units back to the base and just try and finish off those medium tanks, because once those medium tanks are done, I don't think Cyan's going to have anything left to defend with. We're just getting some Tesla down as well, just to whittle down those forces. And yeah, it's not like an absolutely huge threat at the moment. What they could do though is they could do some really annoying base kills and get some construction yards down as well. You can see the Cyan force now pushing further down into my base. We'll have to see what they go for. They've gone for the ore trucks, and now they're going for the construction yards. And possibly going to try and get those MCVs out of the way at the moment. Some of those Tesla getting in some shots there, and that medium tank force is starting to get whittled down, so I'm not too worried at the moment. Only 2 tanks left. We'll have to see if we're able to save that construction yard. It looks like it's just about going to be able to stay up. And we've still got a couple of ore trucks on that big ore patch there. And now we're going to go back to Cyan's base and hopefully take out the remaining buildings. Cyan's not going to have anything left to defend with, and yeah, he said well played, and I think yeah, he's pretty much out of the game completely. I've still got cruisers though firing on from my base from red, and we've also got some Tesla there. So I'm just getting another ore refinery at the top of that map, and now yes, Cyan's tapped out and he is out of the game. The thing is though, now I've lost all my tanks and I'm going to try and bring them down. You can see that red is starting to mine quite a bit, and that'll be giving him a lot of resources to build up his tank forces, since we've had a bit of a nothing is being not really attacked much recently, but now we're going to take our tanks across the bottom of the map. The problem is both of his bases are protected by cruisers, and you can just see the cruisers firing on those tanks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take out these buildings. Let's see what I can do here. He's got a few ore refineries there, but we can see next to the lake he has a whole load of tanks, and it's sort of like a tank mass and yeah, defending that base there. So yeah, that's going to be hard because I'm trying to find tanks and cruisers at the same time, and I think I'm going to need to pull back, unfortunately. There was a lot more than expected there. Obviously he was using gap generators, so I couldn't see what was going on, but I'm going to take these heavy tanks back now, and it's clear that I'm not going to be able to get through. And now his medium tank mass is starting to chase me, so I'm going to try and get back into the safety of the Tesla. And he does have quite a decent number of medium tanks there. It sort of rivals my mass, but if I can get my Teslas to help me a little bit, I should be okay. Just need to pull back a little bit. Yeah, and you can see that medium tank mass getting the better of my tanks at the moment. So I'm going to have to pull back, and as soon as those Tesla get involved, it's going to change the whole scape. And you can see that he knows those medium tanks aren't going to be in great enough numbers to fight me head on if there's Tesla involved also. I'm in a similar position attacking his base. I know I can't attack his base if it's in the cruiser fire, so we're sort of like in a similar scenario here. The thing is, who can get the most map control, who can control the ore resources, because who controls the most ore will be eventually able to outproduce the other player. But yeah, he's got quite a few areas now that he can utilise because of those cruiser patches where he can just annihilate any tanks that come. And yeah, you can just see my tank forces are in very low number at the moment, and I just have to be very, very careful that I don't overextend. And he also needs to do the same thing, because he could overextend into my Tesla, but his medium tank mass is starting to pick up, and I think he's got a better economy going right at the moment. But those Teslas starting to get involved. We'll have to see, is he going to be able to push through both the Tesla and the tanks? Those Tesla are quite good in number. He's going for the Tesla first, trying to take them out. But he's losing a lot of tanks in doing so. And now I'm getting another Tesla mass out as well. And yeah, he's realised he's pushed in a little bit too far, and there's too many Tesla there, and he's lost too many medium tanks in that. I'm now going to use this opportunity to go for his ore trucks. If I can cut off his ore trucks and ore supply, then I'm going to be able to stop him reinforcing that medium tank mass. It's all about controlling the ore at this time in the game. We can see, like, close to his base, there's not much ore left, so we're just fighting over these remaining ore patches. The only thing is, it's very hard for me to get to certain places because of the cruisers. And now he's going for an attack on my base a bit higher up this time, and it looks like he's targeting the ore refineries. So I'm going to need to get back up there and prevent myself from losing too much things. So my heavy tanks are coming in now, and now red is starting to pull back. There's still one ore refinery there. What I'm probably going to do though is I'm going to replace that ore refinery and place one further nearer the bottom. So I'll build another one and just place it down there. Then it'll be like in the safety of the Tesla. I'm going to sell some of these other ore refineries as well that I don't need. Because up here I know there was some more trucks travelling right down. I've made a little bit of a mistake there. I haven't had enough funds to build that extra ore refinery, so I'll do that later when I have that other that one ore truck that I've got on the lower ore patch will just have to travel a little bit further for this next drop off. And now we're going back for Red's other ore trucks. There's a couple there. Well, quite a few actually there. There's about 3. So we'll try and take them out. Let's see how many we can get down. 2 go down. And now that new ore refinery is ready, so I'm just going to put it a bit lower down, and that's just so it's like closer to the ore. That's one good thing, so ore trucks have to travel less distance. And it's also right near the Tesla, so if he does go for the attack, and we see Red there with a lot of those ore trucks, but the thing is he does have quite a lot of things near there. I do have quite a number of MCVs there. So I'm going to need to start building some stuff. And there's a Tanya. We're going to need to get a flame tower in there. And that just destroys the Tanya quite quickly. There is a lot of MCVs there that are undeployed, but they're just spares. I mean, I don't have like an absolute brilliant economy, so it doesn't really matter too much. Because it increases structure building speed, but because my economy isn't great, it's not going to really make too much difference. There's not that much on the map anyway. And this is the advantage of having them undeployed, is we can move them away from the site of attack. And you can see those red tanks now coming in. And I'm going to have to get those MCVs into a place of safety. And yeah, you can just see he's taking out the MCVs that are undeployed. So I'm going to deploy a couple of them up here. Just so I can get the power back online. Actually, the power's okay, but I'm going to need to get those tanks back. And I'm going to need to make sure I keep some things like ore refineries and stuff alive. You can see that Red is focusing on the buildings lower down. So I'm going to get these tanks in. And let's just try and take this red mass out. I've also got a Tesla coil which is about to be built, and his tank numbers are coming up, but the question is, does he have enough tanks there? I think he might get 1 or 2, but he's not going to have enough tanks to take out them all, because I've got another Tesla down, and yeah, I think that one might go down, but I think another one's going to be pushing it a little bit too much. I've also got an MCV undeployed, that was just so I could take it away if I needed to. But now we can see that those... We've still got 2 construction yards standing and 1 MCV, which I can deploy in other places. I'll just put it there for now, because what I'll do is I'll probably concentrate some Tesla around that point and have a bit of a stronghold. It's also a very good point to be a little bit stronger in, because there are some ore reserves around that point. And now we can see that he's got some medium tanks at the bottom of the map, just guarding that ore patch. So I'm going to need to bring some Tesla further down and just make sure I can get rid of those tanks. He saw my heavy tanks coming down and now he's pulled back. But once again, we're going to go for those ore trucks. We see a couple of them on that ore patch to the left, and we'll try and take them out if possible. I'm just getting another ore refinery there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and expand obviously to this ore patch on the left as well. And now we're getting our tanks in there. Let's see what we can do. We're getting some Tesla deployed as well. Because obviously the funds aren't great at the moment, so I'm going to need to just get some strongholds. I'm going to start building tanks again, although my economy, you can see, is struggling quite a bit. I've been able to get some Tesla around the base, and of course they do great damage against tanks, but yeah, I'm going to need tanks also. And now we can see another attack going on at the main base, so I'm going to need to bring my tanks back there. And I'm just sort of like trying to develop my bottom point. I don't know whether this is a diversion or to try and get my tanks away from this bottom point. We'll wait and see. I'm trying to build Tesla, but the thing is, I'm out of funds, and this is going to make it very difficult for me to be able to build much. I've also got some more trucks stationary there because I needed to get another ore refinery, and now he's going in to the construction yards. And those Tesla aren't going to be enough without tanks. I'm bringing my tanks up now, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to get rid of all my war factories and all of my construction yards, because if all my war factories and construction yards are destroyed, then I will not be able to build any MCVs. I think actually I will be able to still build an MCV there. So we'll build some MCVs lower down the map in the safety of the Tesla. At least my base is going to be a bit smaller now, so I'll be able to bring my tanks down into this base. The thing is, neither of us at the moment can really build like huge masses. We could just build like very small bases. And I'll just get that construction yard, the MCV, deployed. just so I can start building units once again. And now you can see those medium tanks. I think they're just trying to destroy my tanks. I don't know if he thinks he's won and that I don't have any structures left. But I do have an MCV left. I have a war factory as well. And there's another MCV out there, which I'm going to put lower down on the map. I'm also going to need to like sort of work on my economy and build that up into a better position. But now taking these tanks down because the ones from down there, they're getting a bit wrecked, and I'm going to need some Tesla to help there. I've just moved those ore trucks further up the map, well, down the map, because I want to use them now down here. I was planning on building an ore refinery up there and using that like ore patch to the middle right. But that's not going to be an option anymore. So I'm just like building my economy down here, and hopefully we'll be able to start getting some tanks out and yeah, just improving our situation, because we're very low on tanks now, and we're going to need a few more if we're going to be able to defend from this. I think though that I've managed to stabilise, and I think the big thing about Red is he doesn't have a good economy. We've been working on those ore trucks that have been mining off those 2 ore patches, and now but Red is coming in. He's got some tanks spare, and this is going to be obviously an essential attack. He's coming in, but he's seen that Tesla is taking out one of the tanks, and my heavy tank numbers are starting to build back up. Getting another Tesla down there just for a bit more defence, and it's going to be very hard. Now my base is quite localised. I'm going to need to spread out once again, but because it's quite localised, it becomes a bit easier to defend. Although I'm going to want to use like multiple ore patches, otherwise the ore patches near my base is just going to run out. And the more ore patches I can use, of course, the stronger my economy will become, and the more tanks I can get on the field. And what I've just noticed is that Red is now in the top left position, and that's one place I'm going to need to attack him, because in that top left position he's going to have quite a bit of ore. You can see those ore patches which were used up earlier in the game are now starting to regrow. So if he gets up there, he's going to have a plentiful supply of ore. What I'm going to do though in my main base is I'm going to build some Tesla. I'm going to keep some tanks there as well. So just grouping my units, heavy tanks up there, and I've still got some heavy tanks back in my base. But now we're going to try and get this group towards that base in the top left. We'll see how this goes. You can see there's already 3 ore troops there. We're going to need to try and take them out straight away, and now go for this extra base. And my Tesla mass in my main base is starting to build up quite nicely, so I'm getting a good defence. Let's see how this goes. He's got some heavy medium tanks there, and there's quite a few more than I thought there would be. I'm going to take out those war factories first, and now I'm going to go for those medium tanks. But those medium tank numbers are pretty decent, and I think I may not have brought enough tanks for this. And yeah, he's getting another war factory out, and every time I need to destroy a building, I'm going to lose more tanks in the fight. So this time I didn't have enough to actually take it out. I will need to build more tanks before I can take out that base, but that's going to be a priority. Of course, it's one of those cases where who controls the ore controls the game, and good for another ore trucker once again. But yeah, his medium tanks are around there. We might get a couple of kills though. And I'm going to get another war factory out. You can see my heavy tank mass is starting to build now, and my economy is starting to get a little bit better. And I think Red's going to do whatever he can to save this base up at the top of the map. So we're just getting our tank mass up a little bit. I'm also just expanding my own base, trying to get up to those extra ore patches and build some ore refineries as well.
Building. Construction complete.
I just need to make sure I have like a decent tank number so that I don't go in and waste a lot, because that's the only like issue. Sometimes you can like send not enough in, and then you just get like a bad trade. But now you can see that Red is now focusing on my bottom base, so I'm going to take some tanks down there, and we're going to see what we can do here. Let's see, has he left it unguarded? It doesn't look like there's many tanks here, and we're going to be able to get some good ore truck kills and some ore refinery kills. So we're going for the structures now, taking out these ore refineries. That'll mean that if we can clear all of these, he'll have to send them back to the main base, and he's done a bit of a mistake there, misplacing his tanks. You can see he's trying to build some from his war factories at this point, but we are going to be able to take these structures out. And he's also at my main base, so I'm going to need to go back to there, because you can see the big tank mass is starting to go through my base there. I've got some Tesla though, and I'm starting to like mass up my own tanks, and we'll have to see how this goes. You can see he's managed to take out a lot of those buildings in the bottom left, and I think he's going to be able to clean up those ore refineries, but I do have some in my main part of my base still. These ones are going to be cleaned up though, but we are going to be able to take out a lot of these medium tanks here. It seems to be going quite well. I've got the better heavy tank numbers, and those medium tanks are starting to fall. They've been able to do some damage to structures, but that's as far as they're going to get. And now he's starting to pull back because he realises, actually, he's not going to be able to do any more damage. I've also got another ore refinery out there. I'm going to need to just build up my Tesla defences once again. And you see those medium tanks going once again to the safety of his main base. I'm just going to pull back a little bit because I don't want to get into that cruiser fire. But now we're going for a little bit of an attack on his main base because he's got some ore refineries there. I've got some Tesla in my own base. I'm also building up my tank numbers. I'm also going to build up some extra MCVs. But now he's going for back for an attack there, so I'm going to have to come back. At least we're going to be able to get some more kills, and you can see those. Actually, I shouldn't have taken my heavy tanks around that route, but I do need to get there as quickly as possible and just save things. I'm also building more MCVs just for a bit of safety, so I can move them to other locations on the map and spread my base out a little bit. And we see those medium tanks there, but those medium tanks are going down. There's not, he's losing them quite quickly. I've got a big heavy tank mass there, and he's realised that those medium tanks, well, you can see they're in a bit of a right state now. He's not got many left. He's gone for the base dive, but it hasn't. It probably won't have paid off because he's lost a lot of that mass. And by the looks of it, he doesn't have a great economy behind it, although he does have some more trucks near that water patch, which will be guarded by cruisers. But as soon as they get onto the ore, they're like sort of like in range of me, and now I'm just going to rebuild my economy back up here. I'm just having a bit of a look here at those medium tanks. He's sort of like taking them away, but I don't think he has like many medium tanks at home, and I've got some Tesla there, so as long as I keep some of my tanks back, I should be okay for now. And I'm going to start expanding to other parts of the map. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking an MCV to this top middle part, so I can start using the ore patches up here. I'm also going to be starting to attack that ore truck that was just mining there. A bit of long distance mining like, because I think that ore truck's coming from his main base, which is right in the bottom left. And I'm just waiting for that MCV to arrive at the top, and you can see there's some tanks coming in at the main point of my base. I've got some tanks down here. I've also got some Tesla on the build, so I'm going to try and take them out. You can see there's not enough of them there to make too much of a threat. Just placing a Tesla to delay while they get there. They've managed to destroy the ore refinery, but I'm going to be able to build another one, and that Tesla looks like it's going to go down as well, but he has lost a few tanks in doing that. I'm going to rebuild that ore refinery, and now I'm trying to sweep in with these heavy tanks on the top left position and take out those ore trucks, because the more trucks I can take out, the worse Red's economy is going to be, the less medium tanks he's going to be able to build. And now just taking out as many of those ore trucks as possible, just to try and eliminate him completely. I've also got an ore refinery set up there, and we can see some heavy tanks in my main base, so I'm going to need to sort of go back here and try and defend against this. He had more heavy tanks than I thought. I didn't realise he had this number, and just starting to work those ore trucks once again. So now we're going to bring our heavy tanks back because we're in sort of like in a pretty bad position. We have managed to take out quite a lot of ore trucks. The heavy tanks are going to go through some cruiser fire, but I do need to get them back to my base straight away ASAP, so I am going to have to accept that. I have managed to take out a lot of Red's economy though, and hopefully that's going to pay off. And getting another ore refinery placed there. We have the better tank numbers now. It's just about getting more map control. I've got a group of tanks there, just so if any ore trucks start travelling north, I'll be able to take them out. And now we're going to go for these ore trucks on the ore patch. You can see Red's got quite a few near to that stronghold with cruisers. But if we can take out those ore trucks, that's going to put us in a very good position, because I can't see many ore trucks elsewhere. Now you can see that MCV going up at the top of the map, and an ore truck getting killed on the left of the map there, where my heavy tanks are stationed. I'm managing to take out quite a few ore trucks here, and that's quite a good. I think we've got about 4 ore trucks there off this patch, and another ore truck going in the left position there. And it looks like I'm going to need to rebuild my war factory, because that has been destroyed in the bottom left of the base. And this is where I realised I made a huge mistake, because the construction yard that was safe earlier in the bottom right of my base is no longer there, the one that was in between all the Tesla, and that is my remaining construction yard in the top middle. So this was an absolute disaster. I've got all my ore trucks there, but the problem is that construction yard goes down, and that means I can no longer build any more tanks. I've just wound it on to the final attack, and I was just so annoyed at myself after this match, because I'd sort of got myself into what was like a winning position in the terms of tank numbers. I had map control, I was going to limit Red's economy completely. What I hadn't realised though is that my construction yard, which was a safe position in the bottom right, well, it wasn't a safe position earlier, because I had a load of Tesla surrounding it. I didn't realise that had been destroyed, so then I only had 2 other construction yards left, which were near the top of the map, but they were unprotected. I was also slow to realise that the war factories were gone, so I started rebuilding my war factory a bit late. I should have seen that earlier, but when you're playing a game for like 50 minutes right on the edge, those mistakes are definitely going to creep in. It was just so annoying how I got so close. I thought I was going to win the game, and then yeah, threw it away like that at the end. But hey, that's sometimes what happens. And Mo, who I was playing against, is a good player. He's ranked highly on Quick Match. We are about the same level. I think we're both ranked in the 50s at the moment. That's while I'm recording the game, but obviously that can change over time. Anyway, that was the game. You can see actually that was the last war factory, I think. He had a barracks anyway, but yeah, the war factory did manage to survive somehow. I don't know how without all that cruiser fire, but there you go, that was that game. The fact I was able to take out those 2 remaining construction yards, I think that was the only construction yards he had, and nearly got all of his war factories. I think it just shows how far ahead I was actually in the game. But then that carelessness at the end just cost me it. When I lost those war factories, you can see all my ore trucks piled up there. I definitely had a decent economy. Yeah, well, if I could have got those ore trucks sorted, but anyway, that's how it goes sometimes. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.